My name is William D. Burt. I am reading from the first book in my series, The King of the Trees, first published in 1998, and the second edition came out in 2004. I will be reading from the first chapter of The King of the Trees, which is entitled Market Day.
Snitch boy, hair as red as pitch boy, bee in his bonnet, bee in his bonnet, bees in the hive, and Roland sat on it. Roland jerked awake, tore off his quilts, and rushed to the window. He saw no one outside except a few blue jays warming up for the day's chatter. An early morning mist still swirled among the firs and pines in the foothills of the rugged Tartellin Mountains, where Roland's father, Gannon, had built their cozy cabin. Roland groaned and flopped back on the bed. He always had bad dreams just before market days, when he and his father went down to bustling beach town to sell their wares. Was it his fault he had red hair, though it was really chestnut, or that his father kept bees? And who could blame him for reporting the cobbler's sons to the constable for stealing chickens? As if that were not enough, the crazy toadstool woman had been his grandmother. Had been. Roland screwed his eyes shut, squeezing out the tears. Several years earlier, first his grandmother Adelka, then his mother Jana, had died under mysterious circumstances, leaving Roland and his father to mourn their losses in lonely bewilderment. "Ho, Roland! Sun's up and it's market day!" boomed a voice into the log-walled bedroom. Roland yawned, stretched, and hopped out of bed. Market day! Already he could see the crowds of traders and travelers, vendors hawking wooden trinkets, and the food stalls set up in the square, with their mounds of candied fruits, toasted beech nuts, smoked fish, and box upon box of luscious winter pears. And he could hear the children's cruel taunts. "Up with you now, sleepyhead!" Gannon called again from the next room, interrupting Roland's daydream. "It's oatcakes if you come now, and nuffin if you don't. We must leave soon, or we'll miss the best of the market." Roland knew his father's blackberry blossom honey would command the highest prices in the morning, when buyers were wanting their breakfasts. That did it. "Coming, father," he answered. After hurriedly dressing, Roland opened his door. There in the kitchen stood his father, a tall, red-bearded man with a jaunty wool cap, stirring a crock full of oatcake batter with a wooden spoon. Beside him, a griddle smoked on the roaring wood stove. Roland's mouth watered at the delicious wood smoke and hot griddle scent filling the room. "So, you finally decided to get up after all," Gannon observed. "Your hair looks a fright, you know." Roland grinned at the good-natured jibe. His hair always seemed to stick out every which way, especially in the morning before he could tame it. "So does your beard," he shot back. Gannon self-consciously combed batter-caked fingers through his tangled, unruly beard. "Don't just stand there," he said. "The first batch is getting cold on the table." Gannon waved the spoon as he spoke, flinging bits of batter onto the floor and walls. Roland pulled up a chair and poured golden honey over a heaping plateful of oatcakes. "Do you think we'll do well at market today?" he asked his father between mouthfuls. "The best ever," Gannon replied. "With the heavy honey flow we've had this spring and last year's bumper potato crop, we should fare very nicely. After I have bought supplies, there might even be enough money left over for that gadget you've been wanting." Roland's heart leapt. "Oh, I hope so," he said. Market days always attracted clever peddlers and magicians,
with their intriguing tales, astonishing tricks, and marvelous inventions. At the last fall market, a wizened little man had been selling the most extraordinary devices. Long wooden tubes with round pieces of glass set in their ends. Star glasses, he had called them. Roland had peered through one of the tubes at a sparrow perched in a distant tree. To his delight, the bird appeared life-sized. The old peddler had told him the moon and stars themselves would leap down from the sky, so large would they loom through the eyepiece. "Don't set your hopes too high," Roland's father advised him as he spooned more batter onto the griddle. "You can't buy peddlers' wares with promises, and one of those toys will cost you dearly." "I know," replied Roland with a sly glance at his father. "You can't hawk honey with batter in your beard either." With that he rushed out of the cabin, just as a well-aimed spoonful of batter splattered against the door behind him. Outside, Gannon's bees were flitting in and out of their conical clay hives, which were steaming in a warm spring sun. Roland savored the rain-washed mountain air, spicy with the pungent scent of fir needles and cottonwood balm. Already the sponge mushrooms would be sprouting among the poplars. He scooped up an armload of firewood and brought it into the house, where another tall stack of oatcakes awaited him at the rough oak table. His father soon joined him with an even taller stack. Before you could say oatcakes and honey, they had gobbled up everything in sight. Roland twirled his last bite of oatcake in a pool of honey, popped it into his mouth, and sighed. "Fetch me the money box and some punkwood, will you, my boy?" Gannon asked him, licking the honey from his plate. I fear table manners in the cabin, indeed all manners, had suffered since Gannon and his son had been left to themselves. Opening the money box was an event reserved for special occasions, chiefly the spring and fall markets. Roland hopped down from his chair and threw back a tattered rug lying beside the table. Pulling up on a small handle recessed into the floor, he opened a groaning trap-door to a musty-smelling cellar. Clambering down a flight of creaking stairs, Roland felt his way in the darkness to a tall cupboard. Its shelves sagged under the weight of potatoes, carrots, flour, honey, and beans. As his eyes adjusted to the dim light, Roland spotted a pile of the half-rotted, dried wood, whose thick, sweet smoke had such a calming effect on angry bees. After stuffing a few pieces of the wood in his pocket, he searched for the money box. It was nowhere to be seen. He groped about on the shelves, raising a cloud of dust that sent him into a sneezing fit. Still no box. Standing tiptoe on a wooden crate, he peered over the top shelf, seeing only some broken tools and pottery, a few yellowed scraps of parchment, and a box. "What is it doing up here?" he wondered. He seized the box and jumped down, nearly tipping over the cupboard. After blowing dust off the lid, Roland realized he had the wrong box. This one was wooden, not metal, and its lid was adorned with intricate engravings of trees and mythical-looking winged creatures. Spidery lettering ran around the sides. Here is the box. "Roland!" Gannon's voice echoed into the cellar. "There's no need to look for the money box. It was here in the kitchen all along." Roland scrambled back up the stairs with the punkwood and his new find, closing the trapdoor behind him. Gannon was standing at the table, holding a plain-looking box with rust around its edges.
Father, look at this, Roland exclaimed. What is it?